right, so here is our first real lesson, in quotation marks, of this twin flame path to ultimate healing and oneness. And as I alluded to in the introductory video, we are going to be talking about the basics of healing and growth and just really what this path, this journey is about, just introductory, and your self-healing, okay? So we are going to start everything off by talking about energy and consciousness, because that is what it is all about. That is what we all are. And so if you are familiar with any piece of or ideas of quantum physics, you know that around the turn of the century, when we discovered quantum physics, when we started studying it, scientists found that everything broken down to its smallest piece is energy. So when you look at atoms that make up everything and you break them down, you see that there's these vortices that are spinning and rotating, vibrating at different speeds. Okay, so this desk is energy. Well, you can't see the desk, I don't think. This whiteboard is energy. Now it's matter, but when you break it down and break it down and break it down, it's energy, just as air is energy, just as if you were to boil water and you would see steam, it's energy. It's all the same substance. It is how it is vibrating and rotating. And of course they have different components that make up, like water or hydrogen or things like that. But at its core, it's all energy, and it's just vibrating at different levels. So the same goes for you, the same goes for me. And, you know, to practice feeling your own energy, to practice feeling energy, if you just take your hands and just put them together very, very, very slowly, pull them apart very, very, very slowly. It's like there's more than just air there. You can feel something. Don't expect to feel anything, just notice. And so getting in the mindset and the practice of seeing everything as energy and truly understanding it is helpful. And it's kind of the basis of what we'll be talking about today. I have my trusty whiteboard here so I can draw, because I'm not like technologically savvy enough to do something on a computer. So we're going back to basics. It's the same lessons. It doesn't matter, right? So yes, we are all energy and we are all connected. So the unified field theory in quantum physics, it talks about what spiritual teachings have been talking about for years now, and that is saying once you go beneath everything, there is this connection between every single one of us. And quantum mechanics is so interesting because what they're able to observe, what they are able to discover using numbers and using mathematics, we are unable to cognitively wrap our brains around. So, in quantum mechanics, if everything was in place, I'd be able to walk through this wall because it's all energy. We can't cognitively wrap our brains around that. You know, different particles will spin simultaneously in both directions. Like you can't wrap your mind around that, right? But they know it because it's been observed, and they use numbers and they use mathematics to figure it out. But in terms of trying to explain it, it's very, very hard because we have nothing to compare it to. We have no way of actually conceptualizing it. So for that reason, there just needs to be an element of trust that, you know, all of these spiritual teachings have something, you know, there's a basis to them. Quantum mechanics is just now starting to figure that out. So the reason that I want to talk about that and just start with that is because it will be the basis of how we go about this program. So when you set an intention, you are using your thoughts, and often you're putting emotions behind it. You are using your energy. Now, where does that energy go? Since we are all connected, it goes out to everybody, right? So if you have an intention for your twin flame, there is a field of energy that takes your thoughts to them. And quantum mechanics they haven't studied twin flame relationships, but you know that there's that deep connection we talked about the last video. There's like that soul connection, right? So how I feel is like there's more energy between the both of you. Also, when you heal, you begin to vibrate at a different level. You hear the term raising your vibration. You're able to raise your vibration to one of love and light. And that healing of yourself, since we're all connected, radiates out and it touches your twin flame and it touches other people in your life. So I want to start this lesson talking about, and also before we go into this, when I do energy healing, because a lot of the sessions will be energy healing sessions, what I do, when you do a healing session from me in this program, I am infusing, I've gone through they're called attunements, to be able to channel energy. It's not my energy, it is divine energy, it is channeling from something much greater than me. I'm able to be this channel for this energy. It comes through me from the divine, from this ultimate consciousness, and I infuse it into these healings. And so the first healing you're going to get is going to be one where we balance your energy centers, your healing. We balance your energy centers, and I find energy blocks, things that need a little realignment, and I help those align. Now, you don't have to do anything when you listen to the healing. You just have to play it. It's best if you can play it when you're more receptive, so when you're meditating, when you're falling asleep, and every single time you play it, you're getting an energy healing session. It crosses time and space, and it works every single time, and it works on different areas every single time. And so a lot of the healings that we'll be doing will be these energy healings. Some will be more like guided meditations and working on mindset and exercises to work on your own healing, but a lot will be this energy healing. And so for that reason, I want to go over your own energy centers, what your body's made of, and then I want to talk about you and your twin and the energy that you have between the both of you and how we work to heal that. Okay? So we're going to be talking about the chakras, and we are going to be, and I know that there's a lot of information out there, so I'm going to keep it relatively brief, and I'm not going to give this as information for you to like you're studying the chakras. I'm giving it in the context of how we're going to use it in this program, how you are going to use it for the context of your own self-healing. So with that being said, that's why I need my little whiteboard. With that also being said, when it comes to the twin flame journey, I don't want to impart any beliefs onto you. You have your own belief system, but there tends to be a belief in this reincarnation. And when you think about it, if we're all energy, like you're not your body, okay? You have this body, but that's not you. If you lost an arm or you lost a limb, you wouldn't be less complete. It would still be all of you. So if you were your body, then if you lost a part, then you would be missing a part of you, but you're not. You're still whole and complete. You're not your thoughts. You have thoughts. You have power over your thoughts. So if you were your thoughts, you wouldn't have any power over them. So what is that beneath everything that is directing all of this, that's directing your body to move? Dr. Wayne Dyer always gives the example, I think, of a tomato seed, where he was a kid and he cut open a tomato seed and he looked inside because he was expecting to see something that would grow that tomato plant, but you can't. You can't see what grows it. The same with your consciousness, like you can't see it. You can't probably even conceptualize it, but that's who you are, and it's pure energy, and it's part of this wholeness. It's part of the divine. And because of that, your energy can't die. Your energy can just transform into something else. So the idea of reincarnation is that you have a body for a period of time and your body wears out. And then when your body wears out, then where does your energy go? Well, in more Christian beliefs, you call it heaven. In other beliefs, you call it the astral plane. It's just kind of different terminologies for this place where you go, or maybe you just merge into the oneness, into the wholeness. But anyway, your energy doesn't die; it just gets transferred. So whenever you think of the twin flame journey, I will talk about reincarnation. We'll go back into past lives. So I'm not trying to force beliefs onto you in any way, but that is a belief that makes this journey a lot easier to understand. Okay, so let's, for the sake of it, let's say that there's reincarnation, there's past lives. Like I said, you and your twin, you had this almost like soul contract to come down here to learn these lessons. You incarnated in a human body, and now you're in this human body, in this human world with all of these emotions, with all these influences, and you lose touch of who you are. Okay, but you have your higher self there who is trying to help you, who's trying to assist you. It's just that we get so engulfed in this illusion of what we see around us that we don't disconnect from it, but we're not able to hear this guidance like we should. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure that I cover everything. So you come in here, and the purpose of incarnating is to learn these lessons. So when you are your higher self, when you're pure consciousness, when you're one with this unconditional love, then you're like, okay, I am going to come down here, and this is my purpose. This is what I want to learn. This is how I want to grow. These are the things I want to do. You come down here and you forget all that. You lose sight of all that. And if any of you have not heard of Dolores Cannon, I recommend looking up her work, because she was a hypnotherapist who had no intention of finding any of this stuff out, but she tapped in during her hypnotherapy sessions to people's past lives. She tapped into their higher selves, again, not with any intention, and she kind of just researched, and everybody started giving her the same answers of like, what happens to the energy, where do you go? Like, she got the same answers over and over and over again. So you can find out more information from Dolores Cannon. She has tons of YouTube videos. It's super, super interesting. And she really talks about, like, there is no good and bad. There's no right and wrong. It's just lessons. So if you have this experience with your twin flame and you've had negative experiences, the purpose of those is to learn a lesson. Same as like if your twin flame maybe, for example, is in a karmic relationship and you're very frustrated with their karmic partner. Instead of putting your energy into that frustration, if you can take your energy back and understand what your lesson is, not what anybody else's is, because you don't know is the thing. You'll never know what anybody else's lesson is. And they're all meant to learn them too. And sometimes they do during this lifetime, and sometimes they don't. And what Dolores says is, until you learn your lessons, you keep coming back to relearn, and you'll have the same experiences. I don't know if you know anybody in your life, or you can see this in yourself, but like you've made the same mistakes like over and over and over, and it's frustrating, and you might get frustrated with others seeing them make the same mistakes. You might get frustrated with yourself making the same mistakes, but you just keep making them. That's because you haven't learned the lesson yet. Once you learn the lesson, you can begin to break that energy pattern. And again, I'm never speaking to anything like an abusive relationship or anything like that. And, do what is always best for you. But what I'm talking about is viewing other people, getting frustrated with other people, being triggered, finding the lesson in that. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. Okay, so I needed to give all of that backstory to talk about the energy and give a greater context for your energy. So we're these beings of consciousness, and it's a commonly held belief, again, it hasn't been scientifically proven, but most things I think haven't, that we have these chakra systems. And I'm going to just be going over the 7 main chakras. If you are interested in the 12 chakras, if you're interested in learning about meridians. I'm not going over that, but there are different energy channels that they use for acupuncture, other traditional Chinese medicine practices. Look into that on your own. Like, it's fascinating. But just for the purpose of this, for the sake of time, we're going to be going over the chakra system. So I'm just going to draw. This is you. And what is making up your energy? So this is your little body. What's making up your energy are these chakras, these spinning wheels of energy. So this would be your root or your base. Your root or your base, and everything is necessary. Everything builds on each other. You don't want to have an overdeveloped chakra. You want to have balance between every single one of your chakras. So your root chakra is your center of feeling secure, feeling grounded within yourself. When people talk about grounding, you're working on this root chakra because the root chakra is your connection to this plane where you live, work, reside right now. That's your root, okay? So then we go up to the second one. So your root chakra is at more the base of your spine. When we go up to the second chakra, that is going to be beneath your belly button. And this is the center of going with the flow, creativity, sexuality. That's where you hold on to your sacral chakra energy. And again, it's just important to have a balance. So you want your sacral chakra to be balanced with your root, okay? If you have a very strong root, but an imbalanced sacral, so the root is sense of security, groundedness, this is who I am. If your root is very strong, but your sacral is not, then what can happen is you can be just stubborn, just hard-headed. This is the path I'm going on, this is what I'm going to do, no matter what. Because you're losing the parts of the sacral chakra, that's that creative thinking that's going with the flow. On the other side, if you have a very strong sacral, but a sleepy root chakra, an imbalanced root chakra, you can just be going with the flow like crazy. You can be going over here, you can be going over there, and if you ever can think of somebody who you would consider like maybe a little flighty, like they're doing this thing, they're doing that thing, they're doing this thing, they're doing that thing, and they can't stay committed to one thing, then that is because they have all of this like watery, flowy kind of energy within them, but they don't have that groundedness to say, I'm going to stay committed to one thing. So if your root chakra and your sacral chakra are both balanced, then you have the ability to go with the flow, to not be so stubborn, to be creative, to think creatively. But then once you find something that you want to pursue, let's say, then you're able to stick with it. You're able to be grounded in that, okay? The next one is your solar plexus. And this is right above your belly button, typically is where they say it is. And that is your willpower. That is your personal power. So again, you have to think of how it balances with the rest of one. You want every single piece of this is an important, essential component. This is how you exhibit your power on this earth. If you can say something and stand strong by it without doubting yourself, that is a strong solar plexus. If you're able to set a goal and go for your goal, then that is a strong solar plexus. But again, what I find personally with actually a lot of clients I work with, they rely too heavily on their solar plexus at the sake of their other chakras. So they just like power through. And what happens is you're drained. You don't have that, you don't feel secure. So you're powering through, but your root is not there. I mean, it is there, but it's not as strong as maybe it can be. So you feel these feelings of lack. You feel like you have to keep going, keep pushing, but you never feel safe. You never feel secure. Or maybe the next chakra we're going to talk about is the heart. Maybe you're just powering through, but you lack that feeling of love for yourself, for others. You lack that feeling of compassion. So again, it has its place, but it's not the only chakra you want to rely on whenever you're trying to go through this process, this healing process. Allow the other ones to help you out. Let's move on to the heart. Heart chakra is where you would think it would be, in the center of your chest. And what I want to note is the heart chakra is the midway point between your lower chakras and your upper chakras. The first three chakras are your earth plane chakras. They are the ones that you need to live here on earth. So sometimes you will see people who are very, maybe materialistic, very grounded in this earth, like it's all they see. They can have very strong lower chakras, but maybe their upper chakras they're not so much in line with, because then you get more spiritual as you grow up. Now it could be vice versa. You might know somebody who's super, super spiritual, but they never know what day it is, and it's hard for them to make appointments, to keep appointments. It's just hard for them to almost function on this earth plane. Well, that's because they have really developed upper chakras, and the lower chakras, again, are a bit sleepy. Your heart is the midway point between both. It's like the bridge. So you have this love and compassion for your family, for others, that comes from your heart chakra, but there's also a higher energy, that unconditional love that comes from the divine, that comes from source, that resides in your heart chakra as well. And with many twin flames, what has happened is we almost feel like heart chakra blocks, and we'll go over this more in the program. But let's say in your heart chakra, you gave and you gave and you gave and you gave, but you didn't allow that love to come back. Then what happens is your heart chakra just gets exhausted. It just gets worn out, and then it shuts down a little bit. And this can happen not even in a twin flame relationship. This can happen when you're a child. When you're a child, you're open. And you love, and you just want love. You want love from the people around you. But if the people around you, you didn't feel it back. If the people around you made you feel bad, and you put yourself out there and your heart was open, and then somebody hurt it, then just naturally, subconsciously, energetically, you tend to wall yourself off. And it doesn't even have to be situations pertaining directly to the heart. Since this is the bridge between the higher and lower chakras, the other chakras actually can block this heart space off. So for example, if you never felt secure, without feeling secure, this is step one, you're not able to fully open your heart. You need that balanced root to have a balanced heart. There's no way that you can have a fully balanced chakra without all of them being fully balanced, because one is going to be overworking of it. Okay, so let's move now on to the higher chakras. Next one is your throat. And this is honesty. This is what the truth is in every situation, what your truth is in every situation. That's being okay knowing your truth. That's being okay expressing your truth. That is hearing and understanding other people's truths, even though it might be different than yours. So again, you have to be grounded in yourself. You have to be able to go with the flow. You have to feel empowered enough to know that you are worthy, and to know that no matter if somebody else has a different opinion, it does not affect you. You have to have that open heart and that compassion for yourself and others, for your throat chakra to really be balanced, for you to speak your truth without apologies, in a compassionate way, in a kind-hearted way, in a non-egoic way, in a way that you are honoring yourself, but also being respectful of who you are speaking to. And this is not even with speaking, it's also the ears, listening. Your throat chakra kind of rules that, or plays a role in that. But it's also telling yourself the truth. So in psychology, they have a term called cognitive dissonance. And the term cognitive dissonance means that when somebody when there is an event or a thought or something happens that is not in line with who your self-concept is, who you want to be, there creates a dissonance, okay? So you see, and okay, there's something that doesn't feel right. There's something that doesn't feel good. And so instead of many people saying, wow, I don't feel right, I don't feel good, what is the truth in this situation? What am I really going through? That would help create more of a balance. What people do is they put defense mechanisms in place. And that's what many of us as children, when we don't have the tools to know what to do with this dissonance. I'm a child, I'm open, I want to feel loved. My parents don't love me. There's a dissonance there. How do you feel that dissonance? You feel it with defense mechanisms. Energetically speaking, this is how some of the chakras become very taxed and other ones become overworked and other ones shut down. So a defense mechanism could be just completely walling yourself off to all emotions because you don't want to be hurt. You don't have to feel that dissonance then. Another common one that I see is, and they've actually done some studies with this in relationships. If you know people who are in a relationship and they're constantly posting on social media how much they love each other, a lot of times there's a dissonance going on there. They so much want that beautiful relationship, but there's problems in it that creates a dissonance. Instead of saying, what is the truth in this situation? What's really happening? Instead of doing that, then they post all over social media and they get likes and they get comments and people just validate how they want to feel. And that might feel good temporarily, but you're still left with that dissonance. So I bring this up in terms of the throat chakra because I think a lot of our throat chakras get blocked by these defense mechanisms because we are not asking ourselves what the truth is in this situation. And so throughout this whole program, I do encourage you to just ask yourself that. What is the truth in this situation? What is my truth right now? What is really going on? And some of the answers might not feel good. Other answers might bring you a lot of clarity, but if something doesn't feel good, then you can dig deeper. You can say, well, but what is the truth in that? What is making this not feel good? Is it a limiting belief that I have? Is it an old pattern that I have? Is it because what I want is not what I'm seeing right now? It's about finding your truth and digging deeper. And then as you're able to do that, then you're able to open your throat chakra and you're able to speak. Once your heart chakra is also open and spinning and functioning at a very balanced place, you're able to speak from your heart. So you're able to have those heart-to-heart conversations with your twin flame in a loving and a compassionate manner. But it all starts with you understanding what the truth is for you and being honest with yourself. And then you can start being honest in a compassionate way with other people. Okay, we're going to the third eye, or the spiritual eye. Here. And this is your center of intuition. And people talk about like third eye opening and the different like experiences that they have and getting more intuitions and getting more guidance. So you can get the guidance from your third eye. You don't always see it. You can, if you close your eyes, you might be able to see things in your mind's eye. You don't always. You might be able to hear something, clear audience. You might be able to just feel something about a situation. Basically, when your third eye is open, you are more connected with that higher self. Remember, I talked about, and you have your higher self there who's trying to guide you. They just want you to live out your purpose. They want you to be whole and complete and feel good and feel at peace and feel love in this material plane right now. And your third eye is the connection to them. So once your third eye begins to open, and again, we'll be working on that in this program as well. Once your third eye begins to open, then you are able to act from this knowledge of your third eye rather than the knowledge from your ego. Your ego has been calling the shots for your whole life pretty much. And how your ego is formed and how your belief system is formed is how you are raised. So you might have these initial thoughts when you're a kid, but then somebody tells you you're wrong. People tell you constantly as we're growing up to look for teachers for advice. They'll tell you what's best. Parents will tell you what's best. The people in the church will tell you what's best. So we are programmed as a society from a young age not to listen to our third eye. Most of us, it's super closed. We constantly doubt these intuitions. Often the intuitions that we get seem very counterintuitive to everything that we have been taught. These intuitions, we don't know why we're being guided in a certain way. So we need to trust, and that's very hard. So through this program, I'm sure a lot of you have already been doing this, we're going to be working on the third eye so that you are given guidance, so that you're no longer acting from the limiting programmed beliefs. And then the final chakra, right here, your little halo, it's your crown chakra. And again, if you want to learn more about the 12 chakra system, it goes above the crown, but we don't need to talk about that in this. You can research it on your own. I encourage you to. But the crown chakra is your connection to the divine. A lot of times when you meditate, you feel the energy going down through your head. And so you have this open crown chakra and you're getting these messages, and then your brain interprets them through that third eye center. Also, when you get healings, when I have somebody on the table and I'm giving them an energy healing, I typically start at their head, and it kind of gets the energy going, and they can often feel it throughout their whole body, depending on how many little energy centers might be a little blocked. If you're open, if you were completely open with all your chakras and I put my hands on your head, you will feel it down to your feet. It's a whoosh, because there's nothing stopping it. So we'll talk about energy cycles and blocks in just a moment. Okay, so you want, again, all of these to be balanced. The crown chakra, the third eye, is no more important than your root or your sacral. A lot of people like to overemphasize the heart chakra and the third eye, and that just leads to an imbalance. So during the healing session, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work first to balance all of these. And I'm not going to say anything. It's going to be done completely energetically because these are all energy centers. So there's different ways that you can balance them. You can do it with things like affirmations. You can look up affirmations for each chakra and you can say them, because remember, your thoughts are energy. Kundalini yoga, Kriya yoga, Hatha yoga. There's all these different types of practices that can help you, that you can do in addition to the healing I'm going to give you to help you balance these. There's different meditations to help you balance these. But the goal here, the more balanced you are throughout, the more freedom you're going to find, the more wholeness you're going to find. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I'm going to give on the chakra system. Like I said, there's tons of information out there. The purpose of me giving this information was to help us better understand what's going on in our bodies and what terms actually mean when we say I'm blocked. There's an energy blockage going on. You can feel, a lot of times, like if you feel like a lump in your throat or like a pit in your stomach, it feels like a block. And so I wanted to give you all this as a basis, because in the next video, I want to talk about what these blocks are, and I want to bring your twin into it. And we talk about shared karma, shared energy patterns, and how those affect us and our twin and our relationship. I want to talk about what we refer to as cords, like connections, that energy connections that we can share with our twin. And so I'm going to talk about that in the next video for the sake of time. But like I said, the purpose of this was not to give you like a Chakra 101 lesson. I obviously did not go over a lot of stuff. And to me, learning about the chakras can be very interesting. It can be very eye-opening. But I don't want to have anyone get bogged down on like knowing the root chakra is red and it's approximately this big and it spins in this direction, because like knowing that's cool, but it doesn't really serve you. all that much. I wanted to give you something that was functional as a basis, as a foundation, so then we can talk about more of the healing aspect of it and how it all comes into play. Okay, so I will see you in the next lesson.